spent a fair amount of time together. You eat exclusively steak.
Yeah, that's very extreme. And I certainly wouldn't recommend that for everyone.
But in your case, you believe that's a profoundly important additional path.
Well, I think that the depression in our family has a very powerful autoimmune component. And so it seems very associated with diet. My daughter had a very extensive series of autoimmune problems and was probably on the road to an early grave, I would say, maybe by the time she was 30. She's 27 now, and she's doing just fine. But all of her symptoms, some of which manifested themselves as depression and some of which as of arthritis, seemed to recede when she radically decreased her diet. And we had a clue about that early on, because if you read the literature on rheumatoid arthritis, for example, or arthritis in general, you find that if people fast, their symptoms disappear. But as soon as they start eating again, they come back. And so I read that literature and I thought, well, God, people can't be having a autoimmune response to everything. There must be some other factor associated with food that I didn't understand. But it turned out for her, and it seems to be the case for me, that virtually anything other than beef triggers whatever this response process is.
With your current beef diet.
Yeah.
And that's, again, beef morning, lunch, dinner,
yeah.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
Just salt. You don't have to marinate the beef.
No.
Can you get off your antidepressants?
I am off the antidepressants. They didn't seem to work the same way once I changed my diet. I wouldn't say that my mood is 100% regulated. I'm more anxious now than I was depressed. So that's changed. It's actually a different form of negative emotion, because there's two forms. There's a form of negative emotion that causes withdrawal, and there's a form that causes irritability. And before, I would say I was, and that's more classically associated with depression. I would say I was more on the side of the irritability, volatility end of the spectrum, and now it's more on the withdrawal end. I often feel sort of frozen by anxiety, especially in the morning, and I have had a hard time getting that under control. However, I also have a hard time separating that from the events of my life, because my life has become extraordinarily complicated, and I actually have